Hello and welcome along to Var from the Truth, episode 6. How are you doing, my friend?
Mate, I'm all good. How are you? How's it going?
Yeah, all good. Another busy week of football.
Crazy week of football. Probably the most drama since the start of the Prem.
Yeah.
Um, just crazy. It all went on, didn't it? Shocking results.
Mm-hmm.
Um, VAR drama,
Yeah.
controversy, huge performances,
Mm-hmm.
and just some crazy games. Some crazy games.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, we saw a lot of obviously, everyone knows a lot of the big teams sort of lost and dropped points. Out of the sort of typical big six, I think there's only Arsenal and Man City that picked up 3 points.
Big
Um,
weekend for them.
Yeah, and a big weekend for the teams lower down in the table, mate.
Yeah.
A lot of them picking up, 3 points or a point. I think Sunderland up to fourth or fifth in the
And
league.
what a start. What
Mate,
a start.
do you know what? Just before we go on, I saw a thing. I think if they collect one more point, they will have equaled Derby County's points tally in that season where
Where
they
they was it 2008, I think,
I think
where
something
they got
like that.
11. What did they
Yeah,
get? Like 12 points or
they
something.
got 12 points, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So that.
remember it was one of our quiz questions
Mm,
in one of the episodes. But
yeah.
mate, that's a crazy stat, to be fair. I
Yeah.
mean, fair play to Sunderland. They're a proper physical team and they're doing really well early on.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
so bro, should we talk game by game?
Yeah.
Um,
Go
go
for it.
through like the big results,
Sure.
and there's only one place to start really, and that's the 12:30 kickoff, which was Brentford Man United. Did
Yeah.
you did you think of that?
um, do you know what? I think Brentford always seem to get a result against United at home. I feel like I've noticed that like the last 5 years, like quite a few of the times they played there, they always seem to lose. But regardless of that, I think with that result, I'm not sure how long Amarim's got left. Obviously, we'll go into that in a little bit more detail, but great win for Brentford. Everyone thought, once they lost Wissa, Mbeumo, Tony, obviously gone,
Yeah.
Norgard, everyone thought that they were basically going to get relegated. Yeah, Thomas Frank. So yeah, great result for them. And convincing, mate. Absolutely convincing.
Yeah, I mean, what a finish for that first goal as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
That Thiago, I think he's joint top goals. No, he was joint top goal scorer with Haaland until Haaland played. I think he had like 5 league goals
yeah,
before Haaland played,
yeah,
which is a crazy start for him.
yeah.
And that finish was quality because you don't often see that, do you? When like a
Mm,
striker's through on goal and he just absolutely
yeah.
puts it top bins with that power. And
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's sort of trying to sort of almost caress it into the net now, and it's like,
yeah, and he just went, do you know what? He's going to take no prisoners and he's just going to smash it in the back of the net. And it was
yeah,
good to see a finish like that. I mean, Bayern Deer as well. He was all at sea. I think the second and third goal that Brentford scored, obviously Bayern Deer like palms it back out to Thiago, and then
yeah,
Thiago kind of like doesn't get clean connection, and Bayern Deer could probably do better.
yeah,
Um, which leads me to the question: why aren't they starting this new keeper?
yeah, yeah. I know.
Why is Amnarin being stubborn and not
Mm,
giving starting the new keeper they just signed? Because I think it's obvious to me that one
mm,
of the key issues at Man United is their goalkeeping
yeah,
problem,
yeah, yeah. No, I
and I
agree.
just don't understand it. What's he doing? Why is he not giving this other lad a chance? Because it's not like we're talking about Bayern Deers like David Raya or Allison level, where he's just
Yeah,
clear number one. Like he's been at
yeah,
fault for a lot of goals this season.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. More goals than Onana anyway. And obviously he's gone. Um, and yeah, I think uh, surely the next game. Um, I mean, it's obviously a big game. The next game, it's a must win. But you'd like to think maybe they'll start him because the keeper did make a couple of mistakes. Even the third goal, it sort of went through his hands.
Yeah,
Uh,
like it was a great strike. Don't get me wrong,
and
but
initially, I thought maybe it was a deflection.
yeah, but
But
if I'm if I'm a United fan, I want to see my keeper doing a little bit better there.
yeah, yeah,
It was a
absolutely.
great strike. It was
Yeah,
a great strike, but I mean,
it just
he
seemed
needs to get a
to
hand.
sort yeah, it just seemed to sort of be like down the middle of the goal.
Yeah,
And I just thought, oh, like surely you'd be able to get a hand to it, or like I don't know, maybe he was expecting a deflection or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, Man United played woefully, to be honest, mate. From what I saw, all the sort of United fans online, said that it wasn't a good performance. Um, and yeah, they're just it's typical United. I think like one week, they'll play well against Chelsea and they'll win. And then the next week they go and do that.
yeah,
It's what we've seen from United over the
yeah.
last Fergie days.
It must be a motivation problem because they seem to be able to get, especially at home. They've been playing well this season. Whenever we've seen them go away from home, they seem all at sea. And you think after a result like the Chelsea result, that was their opportunity to kick on then. And I kind of expected, I thought, come on, are you going to kick on and get a
Yeah,
few more results? But clearly they didn't. And we have to talk about Bruno Fernandes because he missed another penalty and a very important penalty
mm,
as well to make it 2-2 in the game.
yeah, yeah, he did. And again, I saw a lot of United fans saying they should have sold him for 100 mil to Saudi in the summer. Um, and I think it just goes down to I think Bruno's a good player. I just think the system that Amorim's playing, he can't play in that system unless he's one of the number tens, which are not going to drop Cunha and they're not going to drop in Bruno. So
Do you know what Bruno Fernandes for me? He's a luxury player. He's
yeah, yeah,
he's a luxury player that you have in a team that is dominating, and
yeah. Like
that's where he would be perfect. Maybe I could see him in a like doing well in a Bayern,
mm,
even one of the top teams, maybe Arsenal or Liverpool. He could do well because what he gives a team in creativity is amazing. But I
mm,
feel that the issues that Bruno has is tracking back, um, and his mentality. For me, I don't think he's a leader. I
yeah,
think he's always moaning on the pitch, and his mentality has to be questioned now. Missing those two pens, getting flustered easily in the Fulham game when the ref
mm,
slightly nudged him,
yeah,
and he's costing his team big time. And in my opinion, I think Man United are going to keep having the same problems if Bruno Fernandes stays in the team. I think it's time for him to move on.
yeah,
And he's a great player, but he's not what Man United need right now, in my eyes.
yeah. And I think it's one of them things like Man United. It just seems like no matter what they do, no matter who they sign, like they just can't get it right.
No,
Um, and you know they're a massive club, and I'm sure at some point in the future they'll be back and they'll be challenging. But I just don't know what you say they need to get rid of Fernandez. Some people will say they need to get rid of Amorim. Some people will say they need to get this person and that person in. I just think like even if they had like a couple of these extra like these players that people are talking about, I just don't think anything would change. Like I don't know what it is. Like it just seems something with that club is just not right. Um,
it's almost cursed.
yeah, honestly, that's that. I didn't want to say it because it just sounds stupid, but like it's weird, mate. It's really really weird.
Think about. Should we just go into the Man United topic a little bit because we've kind of got started on it, and I just feel
Mm.
let's just talk about Man United for a little bit. The amount of players that have gone there, like top quality players. Like you got Casemiro. I remember when Man United signed him. You
Mm,
know, Man United fans were buzzing because of who he was, what he'd done. He's a Real Madrid player, just won the Champions League, and then
yeah,
was coming to United. Then you got people like Jadon Sancho, who was, obviously Jadon Sancho is Jadon Sancho now, but for Borussia Dortmund, he was top quality.
yeah.
And then, Lenny Yoro, even
Mate,
Onana, he was a Champions League keeper.
final.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for Inter Milan, and was probably one of the best keepers in the Champions League.
yeah.
Uh,
Mate, when they signed, I think the same summer they signed Casemiro, they signed Varane from Madrid as well, who was, world class, mate.
one of the best defenders ever, really.
And I just think, do you know what? The best I've seen United play since Fergie left was when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was in charge, mate.
Yeah,
And they had like Cavani, Martial, Rashford, Bruno, Mason Greenwood, Pogba,
yeah,
Fred. To like they had and like because I saw a clip online and I know clips do certain things, but like they finished second under Ollie. They got
yeah,
to a Europa League final under Ollie, lost on penalties to Villarreal. Um, and like I was looking at the clip and I was like, wow, they're actually playing really, really well. Like they were really like passing out. There's patterns and like it just seems an absolute far cry, mate, from what I've seen since then. So I don't know what they need to do, but they need to do something quick. Otherwise, they'll be finding themselves in the same position as last season.
yeah. Who do you think should be their new manager? If Amnarim got sacked, who who's your who would you if you were in charge of if you were the chairman of Manchester United, if you were Ineos, who are you appointing to replace Amnarim?
Don't know, mate. It's just like who's available as well. Um,
So you've got names that have been circulating on Twitter, and on the socials over since that loss. I've seen Gareth Southgate's name mentioned quite a few times. I think Sir Jim Radcliffe seems to quite like the idea.
mm,
He's also cheap, probably desperate for the job. Um,
mm,
Probably not going to say as well that he needs this and this amount of players. Will probably just come in and get on with it.
yeah.
I've also seen Oliver Glasner's name mentioned a few times, and I've seen Xavi Hernandez mentioned as well.
So I don't think Glasner should go there. I think he's a great coach, but we've seen great coaches go there and just become poor
Yeah,
coaches. You know what I mean?
like think about
Like
it. We've had
and
Ten Hag,
mate,
who
he was like that.
he did that
Yeah,
Ajax team. Yeah,
yeah. And I know it's obviously different, but in the Champions League, they performed amazing. Um, you've had Amram, who was classed as a good coach. You've had Van Gaalde, who's well renowned. You've had Mourinho, serial winner. Obviously Ollie's a bit different. It was his sort of first big job, but he did quite well there.
we were.
Um, like you've had good coaches over the years, and it's just not worth. I think. Do you know what? I think out of those three that you said, in my opinion, I think Gareth Southgate is probably the best one. Because I think he comes in, he doesn't really argue with like the board about anything. Obviously, it's very different from national football to club football. You're there every day, etc. The players are multicultural. They're not just English. So it's a little bit different. But I think in terms of like who he is and like how he conducts it, and like the media would be on his side. I think he obviously got the English media on his side during the job. So I think
Gareth Southgate. He's a very formal character, isn't
yeah,
he? He's
yeah,
and the way he plays football's form. And this is my question to United fans, and I think I do agree with you. And I was going to come out and say that I actually think United just need to go back to the basics.
yeah.
Because how much worse? This is a question to you, United fans. How much worse can it get? Is Gareth Southgate going to be worse than Ruben Amorim?
Yeah,
I
probably.
think Gareth Southgate might come in and, I think one of the things that he did well in England was that team was organised. It was hard to break down. They were good at set pieces and they were hard to beat.
Yeah,
And United are none of those things right now.
yeah,
So could Gareth Southgate, and I can't believe I'm saying this because, if Gareth Southgate does become the next United manager, I think he might surprise a few people because
yeah,
it's an underwhelming appointment. If you know, I know United fans won't be happy with it because he's not this fancy dancy up and coming manager that likes to play nice football. But
yeah,
maybe that's what United need. They need a bit of old school, someone that's going to organise them, going to
mm,
make them harder to beat, and maybe they just need to build off that first.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And I just think there's obviously it's almost like a cesspit of players at United that kind of want to be there, kind of don't. Meh, like it is what it is. Whereas at some of the teams towards the top of the table, like you can tell that like for example, like you could tell Isak wanted to go to Liverpool.
Yeah,
They're near the top. They're fighting for these big trophies. Like I want to be there. I want to play for that shirt. Gyökeres wanted to play for Arsenal. I want to be at the top of the table. Same for the players that Man City sign, etc. Like they want to be at this club because they know success is there. Like whereas with United, it's just such a toxic culture at the moment, and struggling to attract players. To be honest with you,
and I mean they attract players through their wages, which
yeah,
is an issue because then they have issue. I mean, we could probably go on for hours about United,
mm,
but because they offer such high wages, it's so hard to get them to sell off these players, and then they get stuck with people like Jadon Sancho, Anthony,
yeah,
um, and it just becomes it is just so toxic there.
mm,
And do you actually know who, if I was a United fan, who I would really want to manage my club? I think Eddie Howe.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think Eddie Howe is probably the best appointment that
yeah,
United could get.
yeah,
And why he would leave Newcastle, I probably don't think it's going to happen. But
yeah,
I think he would be perfect for a little bit of a rebuild. I mean, he's kind of done it at Newcastle, where he's you know kind of built something there
yeah,
and started from scratch, really. And I
mm,
think he likes it. We saw the weekend how tough Newcastle are to play against, and
yeah,
he would bring that into United, and he doesn't mess around. Eddie Howe, he plays football simply to win and to be
yeah,
hard to beat. So I think it'd be perfect there. And
yeah.
that if I was a United fan, that's who I'm asking for.
I agree. I agree with you. I think the only reason why I wouldn't want that person is because I think, depending on how Tuchel gets on, I think I want Eddie Howe to be the next England manager.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, I do agree with you on that one. But I think we spent long enough talking about United.
I think
Uh,
we have as well.
so what's the
Let's
next
move on.
game you got for us?
So the next game we've got Chelsea at Brighton,
Mm,
3-1 Brighton, and Chelsea all of a sudden lost back-to-back games. Back-to-back games have also gone down to 10 men.
yeah,
Trevor Chalobah this time
yeah,
with a woeful challenge, panicked, and
mm,
then Maresca again and Chelsea just like sometimes teams are harder to break down when
mm,
they go down to 10 men,
yeah.
but Chelsea just seem to not be able to handle 11 men at all when that happens.
Yeah, and I think as well, not to rub salt in Chelsea wounds, but is that not three losses in a row because of the buying game? Um,
Yeah,
the,
it is.
yeah, I think anyway. Don't quote me on that, but anyway,
No, it is.
um, yeah, they well for a start. let's start by giving props to Brighton, mate. They from what I saw, they played really well. Obviously, they beat Man City at home a couple of weeks before. So
Yeah,
we know they're a good team. I'd like to give a proper shout out to Jeremy Minter on the wing. Mate,
so
he's
good.
he's direct. He's got end product. He's like
Do you know
Doku.
who he
I think
reminds?
he's even better than Doku. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, I think he's absolutely amazing. I think he'll be worth big money.
I agree. Do you know who he reminds me of a little bit?
Mm.
Bit of a Sadio Mane.
Yeah, 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 I can see that. Yeah,
Just in the sense that he's just as soon as he gets to a big club, he's gonna be that guy. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
he's top. But yeah, I mean Chelsea, 8 points from the first 5 games, and realistically as well, they probably had the easiest start out of all the top teams. Out of the top six, I mean, they haven't really played it. They played West Ham, who are absolutely woeful.
yeah,
VAR gave them a bit of a, gave them a gift against Fulham
yeah,
because they could have easily won that game as well, or drop points there.
yeah,
And it's got to be worrying times for Chelsea. And Maresca, he's got to be under some pressure as well because let's be real here. They're United are 1 point behind Chelsea.
yeah. No, I know, and I think obviously Chelsea fans weren't happy after the United game about the substitutions, etc., that they made. Obviously, it was slightly different in the Brighton game, but yeah, another poor performance, poor result. And mate, Brighton just seems to have Chelsea's number. I saw a thing that said obviously Chelsea have been buying Brighton's best players for the last few years, and Brighton still seem to still seem to beat them. Obviously
So,
they bought
yeah,
Robert Sanchez, they bought Mark Cucurella, Moises
uh,
Caicedo, Jean Pedro. Um, they bought
yeah,
all the players,
trust. It was
and
like,
they still can't beat them, mate.
nah, yeah, that's so true. That's
So,
so true.
but I think
So,
Brighton are a team to look out for this season. I think they're
yeah, they do look good.
mm,
They look good, and their recruitment is just sensational. How they keep finding these like young talent is ridiculous because they
yeah,
got some players in the team. That
yeah,
Belabor as well. He's
yeah,
United would absolutely love him in their team right now.
absolutely, absolutely. What is the next game?
Next game is Crystal Palace Liverpool. Eddie Nketiah breaking Liverpool hearts.
Right at the death. What Liverpool seem to be doing all season has
And
been.
what goes around comes around, I say. Because and me, it was about time they got punished because they didn't play well at all.
No.
Mo Salah, and we're going to talk about VAR in this game because
Mm,
I just, it, in my opinion, it was an absolutely shocking decision, and
yeah.
how Liverpool's equaliser stand is just
Yeah.
absolutely crazy in my eyes.
Mm,
You can see there's literally still images. Like, does the ball change trajectory? No, but does it
mm,
hit his hand?
mm.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the only I'll be devil's advocate. I think the only thing I thought was, did he get a push from the Crystal Palace centre back? Because he almost seems like he's like flying towards it. It's a bit weird. Um, so I thought maybe he got a push from the Crystal Palace centre back, but I do also see where you're coming from, and I think. They've had a few VAR decisions, and obviously they've had so many late winner. I think maybe every game they've played, they've scored in the last 10 minutes.
This game,
Yeah,
even in this
yeah,
game,
yeah.
the equaliser
You
was in the
you thought you
87th
thought,
minute.
oh, here we go, they've rescued a point,
Yeah,
and they might go and score a winner, and then lo and behold, Eddie Nketiah steps up and well deserved, mate, well deserved. Glasner, Crystal Palace, mate, they're a good
What a
team.
manager!
What
Oliver Glasner, what a job he's doing.
Mm.
I think he's very close to getting a really, really big move. Do you know where I can see him at a top team
Yeah.
in the next year and a half as well? If Company doesn't do well at Bayern,
Mm.
I can feel Oliver Glasner um, heading over there. But
Yeah.
I do just want to touch on the Liverpool game. This wasn't a smash and grab from Crystal Palace. I
No.
mean, the Mateta, Alisson showed why he's probably the best goalkeeper in the world because he pulled off some incredible saves. I
Yeah.
thought Kanate was very poor in the game.
Yeah.
Um, like Mateta seemed to just bully him at times
Mm.
in the game. Mo Salah didn't do much. Isak missed a bit of a sitter. I think Chiesa probably needs a little bit more game time because when he seems to be coming on, he seems to be a bit of a difference maker for Liverpool. Um, but yeah, I mean that's their perfect start to the season with a
Yeah.
blemish, and it's made things very interesting moving forward.
And I think, well, I think maybe, I don't know if you had something to say about Cardio Man, who is now 007, Mr. Florian Wirtz. I don't know if you've got anything to say about him, but
Mr. Cardio Man, I just think he's gonna go down as the flop of the season.
yeah, really,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah, I just I don't see the hype, and I don't see he's another luxury player. And
yeah,
yeah, Liverpool are very good, but they're a very high energy team, and they're more transitional. And I think Florian Wirtz needs to be in a more possession based team,
mm,
and he just doesn't seem to have the physicality. And there was a video that came out of Soboslai, kind of questioning Florian Wirtz's FIFA rating. He like opened his card and he was like 89 overall, and he was like, "Your physicality's that," and he
mm.
just kind of was like looking around like, "What's going on here?" And like his own teammates don't even rate him,
yeah,
and he cost 100. He cost over £100 million, and to go 007
yeah,
um, is ridiculous in my opinion. And
yeah.
Cardio Man needs to put some numbers up in my instead of just running stats.
A man's doing high rocks.
True. Like that. Tell me you've had a bad start when Sky Sports are putting up your statistics for the season as miles covered.
Yeah, mate, it's,
Tell me
yeah,
you're having a terrible start.
yeah. Like,
I think he'll get dropped. I think he'll get dropped.
I mean, these two, mate. Like, I don't like. I'd be putting
Yeah.
Cody Gakpo
He
back in
missed
the.
a sitter as well.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, he should have scored
Yeah, and
that.
I
He
think
should have scored that. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for that one. Like, that's not
no. And I
rustiness. That's not
think
getting used to the league.
Soboslai is a better 10 than. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Soboslai is probably a better 10
yeah. Or
than Wirtz so
even
far.
McAllister. Like, yeah, I think Wirtz has been. Yeah, okay, he's shown a few good flicks and stuff like that, but I'm sure I could probably show you a good few flicks, like, do you know what I mean? Like here and there, I've got a little glimpse of something, but that's not what 110 million pounds you pay for. You pay for assists and goals. Um,
Yeah, and anyone that thinks, oh, we're being harsh on Florian Wirtz right now. We're not talking about a 30 million signing.
mm,
We're talking about over £100 million, and
yeah,
when a team pays that money, and if he played for Arsenal, I would also be getting annoyed with him because we paid that money, and I want to see results. Like,
yeah, for
do you know what I
sure.
mean?
No, absolutely. I think. Do you know what I was
Um,
saying to a couple of my mates here, just to go back a little bit. I was saying that. Don't you think that Enzo Fernandez seems to get away with it a little bit, like being £100 million player because he
yeah, he gets away with it so much.
because I
He
think people
is. You
off
know
that
what
much.
he deserves, mate. If you look at my Twitter, my personal Twitter from a few years back, when they signed Enzo Fernandez, I put a tweet up saying Enzo's going to flop. And I did the exact same thing when Wirtz signed for Liverpool. They just
No,
gave me the same vibe.
yeah,
That's just the type of player they are. And Enzo needs a
mm,
lot more criticism because, he's nowhere near it. And his
yeah,
attitude doesn't seem to be great either. He seems to be, he just seems to be very up himself.
mm,
And,
yeah,
you know, with the price tag, you need to be doing more than what Enzo Fernandez is. I mean, Moises Caicedo, for example,
mm,
quality player, and
yeah,
I think he's worth that price tag, and he shows it week in week out.
yeah.
So you get Enzo Fernandez, who doesn't.
I agree. I agree. What's
Moving
the
on,
next game we got down?
Leeds United, Bournemouth. Bournemouth with a good start to the season. Semenyo scored again,
Yeah,
and Leeds getting the result there as well, which is
yeah,
got some of these promoted teams doing really, really well, actually.
absolutely. Obviously to touch on both teams briefly. Yeah, Semenyo. I think he's now joint second scorer with I think it's Jaden Anthony from Burnley. Um, so yeah, them two doing really well. Um, and yeah, Bournemouth in general. Again, another team who lost a lot of their players, and everyone thought they might be in trouble. Um, but Iraola, another great manager, has
Right.
come up with some really really good results. And again, I think they're another team to look out for this season. Like you don't want to be on a bad run of form and then have to play Bournemouth. Do you know what I mean? Like because I think they can punish you. They've got the players capable to do that, and Leeds as well, mate. Again, another promoted team. This is the best. Again, I saw another stat. It said the three promoted teams so far have collected, I think, 23 points after 6 game weeks, something like that.
Let's have a little look where the promoted teams are.
Mm,
So we've got Burnley in 18th with 4 points.
yeah,
And then Leeds are up in 11th with 8.
mm,
And then you've got Sunderland with 11.
yeah.
So,
And
I mean,
they've
even Burnley, they're not doing terribly.
no, like they've had obviously they had that last minute goal against United. That was another point they could have got. Obviously that last minute
Yeah,
goal against Liverpool as well could have been another point. So they've had a
yeah.
couple like unfortunate results. Um, but yeah, mate, I'm really pleased actually that all three promoted teams have actually like they're
It's
playing.
good for the league. It's so good for the league.
It's great for the league, and I hope they can keep it up, mate, and I hope one or two of them at least can stay up.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's, some of the teams that feel that they're safe in the Prem because they
Mm,
feel that every single season they'll be okay because the promoted teams go down.
yeah.
They've got to watch their P's and Q's now
Mm,
because, Sunderland and Leeds and I think Burnley, they're going to put up a very good fight this year. And, looking at teams like Wolves, um, West Ham, and dare I say, Nottingham Forest with
yeah.
and Postecoglou taking over,
Yeah.
going to have to watch your back.
Absolutely.
But yeah, next fixture was Man City Burnley.
Yeah. I
Man
don't think it
City
was.
5, Burnley 1.
Yeah, it was. I only watched the highlights of that game, and I don't think it was as convincing as the scoreline gave, and until the end.
No.
I think they scored three late goals.
Two
I
own
don't.
goals as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Estevez scored 2 own goals.
yeah. I don't think that's happened for a long time. Two in the same game.
Very
Um,
peak. That's peak.
that might be another quiz question, but I know Jamie Carragher's done that before. But yeah, I might have to
I'll
come
have
back
to
to that one.
throw it in.
Yeah,
Yeah, a few months might have to. But
but yeah, a pretty standard win for Man City, who I still it's one of those. I think their toughest game has obviously been against Arsenal. So it'd be interesting to see them after like playing. Liverpool, Chelsea. Obviously, they lost to Tottenham already. I'm not sure where they are. I'm not. They're almost like in limbo this season.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, isn't it? Because after the Tottenham and Brighton loss, I feel like if you're Man City, you're thinking it's going to be the same as last season.
Mm,
But they've been all right since then, and even against Arsenal, I mean, they got the draw,
mm,
and they seem to have changed. Pep seems to have adapted his playing style a little bit and
yeah.
realised that maybe his team can't play this possession-based football against every team now because he doesn't have the pace at the back, and he's
Mm,
maybe trying to play to Haaland's strength a little bit more, and that might come good for them. And
yeah.
I think they will be there and thereabouts, and I think they are the third best team in the league, behind
Yeah. Of
Arsenal and
course.
Liverpool.
Yeah. Like they've
And
still got.
with,
Yeah.
I mean, with Haaland as well, scoring those goals that he's scoring for fun at the minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, mate. He's on 11. No, 8 goals. Sorry. In the
Yeah,
league. After 6 games, mate. Yeah. It's just he's
it's,
ridiculous.
he's crazy. And if you've got someone like that in your team that can score like that,
You've always got a chance. Haven't
you've always got a chance. He's going to score goals when you're not playing well. He's a
you? Yeah.
handful. He's so hard to play against, and he seems better than ever. He
Mm,
seems like he's really trying to prove a point this season,
yeah.
and he's proven, in my opinion, why he's probably definitely one of the best strikers in the world, if not the best.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So moving on, we got Forest against Sunderland.
Yeah.
1-0 Sunderland.
1-0 Sunderland. Mate, I think we're just gonna keep saying it week in, week out that Nottingham Forest well, not Nottingham Forest, but Marinakis has made the worst decision ever in sacking Nuno and appointing Ange because they are playing terribly. Um, they haven't have they even got a point since he's been appointed? I think they
So,
obviously they lost to us. They lost
yeah, I
in the
think
Carabao Cup. Um, and they lost to Sunderland. I don't know if they played another
they
game, but
drew. Yeah, they lost to. So since Ange took over, the results are Arsenal 3, Forest 0. Swansea beat them 3-2. They
mm,
drew with Burnley. They
mm,
drew with Betis in Europe, and now
mm,
they've lost to Sunderland. So it's it's not looking good for
it's not,
Ange. And
no, not. And I think
and that's not how you want to start your tenure at a new club.
no, especially when the fans probably didn't want Nuno to go as well. They're probably going to be on his back even quicker than they normally would. Um, so he really needs to get a couple of results in his next few games. Otherwise, the fans will be on his back, especially going into the international break soon. That's the last thing that you want.
And I don't think Marinakis is a very patient guy. So
No.
I don't think he can stand for those types of results, especially after the money he's invested in the season they had last year.
Mm.
And it'd be typical Ange though to you know get them relegated, but and win the
Yeah. Yeah.
win in Europe.
Win the
It's a
Europa
bit
League
like
back
what he
to
did.
back.
Yeah,
uh,
imagine back to back.
but to touch on Sunderland, yeah, again, obviously, like we said earlier and just a minute ago, I think they're playing really, really well. Almost, you kind of almost don't want to play them now, especially at the Stadium of Light.
No,
It's gonna be a really, really tough place to go. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I'm really pleased for them, to be honest, mate. I'm really, really pleased.
One of the games I mentioned a few times as well that I'm just buzzing for is that Sunderland Newcastle derby because that is going to be
Yeah,
something. Yeah, I think
absolutely.
I cannot wait for that game.
Yeah.
Moving on though, we've got Spurs Wolves, which was a 1-1 draw.
And
But
like to,
at home, and this was a last-minute João Paulinho goal to get the equaliser for Spurs, and Wolves against Wolves as well.
mate, do you know, I'd like to point out before we get into the game that obviously everyone was sort of saying about Arsenal fans celebrating for scoring in the 95th minute against Man City and getting a draw, and obviously celebrating. That's against Man City, by the way. João Paulinho scores to equalise against Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are bottom of the league. Is that right? Are they bottom?
I think that's their first point of the season, if I'm not wrong. Hang on.
Might be. Anyway, so he equalises against
Yeah,
them, and
first point of the season.
he took his top off and celebrated for scoring an equaliser bottom of the league. I think that just shows you,
That's
mate. Like, that just shows you that just shows you the gap, mate. So yeah, obviously, it's better than them losing the game, of course. And obviously they got the point in
they've
the
had a
end.
few weird results, Tottenham, haven't they? I mean,
Yeah, they
they've
have,
looked
mate.
they've looked really good, and then they keep having these weird games that you'd expect them to win,
Mhm.
considering they beat Man City and they've had a decent start and they've invested heavily, and then
Yeah.
they go into draw and lose.
Mm.
Maybe it's a bit of a Man United type scenario where they don't get motivated to play those teams.
Yeah,
We'll have
maybe.
to
I think
see, but
obviously Thomas Frank is probably still bedding in his things. It's still early for him. I think he's doing a good job though. And I think eventually they should become
yeah,
more consistent. But yeah, he wouldn't have been too happy with that performance, I'm sure.
I think Tottenham are going to be difficult for the big teams for the top six this year. They're going to be a tough team to. They're going to be tough for those teams because they're going to be well organised. We saw it against PSG and Man City, and they're going to be tough to play against, and they'll be
Yeah.
compact and they'll be looking for set pieces and hitting teams on the break. And I think sometimes perhaps when they play these clubs that they should win against, maybe they're struggling a little bit to have the
Mm.
creativity to break them down and maybe quite susceptible to counter attacks. That's from what I've seen, really.
Yeah, I think
But
two
moving on to
things.
Sunday, right?
Mm.
Yeah, sorry. Carry on.
No, I was gonna say I think two things I would say is one, creativity wise, they're probably missing James Madison. Obviously out with the ACL, I
Mm.
think it is. And secondly, I think they'll be better in the Champions League than they will in the league. I think, just due to playing obviously like different teams from abroad, the way they play, I think is more suited maybe towards like a Champions League campaign. But yeah, we'll see. But
Yeah.
yes, moving on to Sunday.
Aston Villa Fulham. Aston Villa got their first win of the season.
Yeah,
Um, they're off the mark, which they
they,
bloody needed.
yeah, yeah, they absolutely did. About time they won. And I think they'll probably kickstart on from here. We all know they're a good team, and for whatever reason they just couldn't get it working the first few games of the season. But yeah, we all know that they're a good side, and I think they'll come good towards the end of the season. They'll be there or thereabouts in terms of the sort of Europa League places.
Yeah, definitely. I think they probably just needed that game to get up and running, and I'm expecting Villa to kick on
Mm,
because they are a good team. They've got some great players. I mean, I rate so many of their players.
yeah.
So yeah, let's hope that they can kick on really. And then, oof, leading on to the big one,
Yes.
Arsenal Newcastle.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm dreading this game. Out of all the
Mm,
games, when I saw the fixture list at the start of the season, and I saw St James's Park away,
Mm,
and the way we've played at St James's Park and our luck there over the past few seasons,
mm,
I just didn't know what to expect. And I thought, if Arsenal can go there and get any type of result, let alone win, I don't care how they won, or
mm,
if they managed to get 3 points, I would be over the moon, and it would show me progression. It would show me that this might be the year that things are changing a little bit, because it's been those games that have let Arsenal down over the
mm,
past 3 years. St James's Park away, we just haven't been able to get a sniff there, and
yeah.
we almost didn't.
Yeah. No, no, you're absolutely right. We almost didn't, and thank God for set pieces again. I mean, to be fair, all three goals, that game were
Yeah, it was a game of
from set.
easy.
Obviously, the Newcastle goal and the first Arsenal goal were sort of short corners played short and then swung in. But it was it was a good game, to be honest, mate. Obviously, I know you were away, so I was sort of giving you the updates. But obviously, I know you've when you came back, you watched it, and I thought that Arsenal played well until the Newcastle goal. Um, they had a few chances with Eze, Gyökeres, etc. Obviously, the big talking point was the VAR decision for the penalty. Um, which I think,
Was it for you?
well, yeah, of course it was, mate. I've never heard this rule before about kicking it into the goalkeeper, who then gets a touch on the ball, then makes it not a foul. Like, that makes no sense. Um, like if I kick the
And
ball
I'm
round the
gonna
keeper,
give you
mm, yeah, like
I'm gonna
if
give you two examples
mm,
of where the exact same things happened and it's been a penalty.
right,
Or red card. First one, Brian Mbumo against Robert Sanchez. He gets a
yeah,
tiny nick of the ball, but
yeah,
he gets sent off.
yeah,
Then do you remember Saliba against João Pedro last season? Arsenal winning 1-0, and the ball flicked up in the air, and Pedro headed it,
mm,
and then Saliba tapped it with his head, but
yeah,
then he followed through, and that was a pen. But
yeah,
Saliba got the ball before he got João Pedro.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's no consistency.
No, no, you're right, mate. And I was amazed that they sent him to the screen, to be honest, because it's not clear and obvious. That's what it's not clear and obvious. Um, you know,
No,
uh,
I agree
mistake.
with you, man.
Um, you watch it and all right. So Gyökeres kicks it round him. He then gets a toe on it, but at the same time that he gets his toe on it, they collide knees. So, mate, I just think I thought it was absolutely
The thing is, as well, yeah, he barely gets a tap on it.
yeah, I know.
Like yeah, it kind of hits his. It kind of hits his. It wasn't so much that he put in a good challenge. The ball kind of like hit
It just
him.
hit his
Didn't
foot.
really
Like,
change trajectory too much.
no, like it's only because where Gyökeres kicked it and like where his foot was planted that it hit his foot. Like, do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that, like, on that, like, okay, so next time, let's say you like kick it the complete opposite way, and then you get a touch. So then is that a penalty? But you're going like, but then the ball was going back the other way. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's ridiculous, mate. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. But obviously, it doesn't really matter again.
It's ridiculous because no, but I think it does. Like I think it does matter
In terms of
because
VAR, it does, of course.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Arsenal fans will probably be like, well, "Let's move on from this." But I mean, you get that. you get that penalty, and it questionably could have been a sending off as well because he's denying a clear goal scoring opportunity. So by the letter of the law, it would have been a red card and a penalty.
Yeah.
You're talking about being 1-0 up at St James's Park. They're down to 10 men. Obviously, Liverpool struggled with them being down to 10 men, but that's a huge advantage in the game.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
moment did change the game. And Arsenal managed to pull it back, but it really changed momentum. And I just can't believe it wasn't a penalty, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was lost for words when I saw it. And
Yeah. I agree, mate. And
yeah,
I think the whole referee's performance yesterday was terrible, to be honest. Not even just on a biased Arsenal side. I think there were decisions for Newcastle that didn't go their way as well. I just think in general he was terrible just the whole game.
he was
Um,
terrible. Yeah, he was.
and it's one of those things again where the referees are scared to go against the grain at their mates at Stockley Park and say, "No, I think I was right." Um, it's almost like I want to hear what they're saying in their ear because it's almost like they're saying, "If you go against us, like you're not going to be refereeing again," because no one does it. As soon as they go to the screen, you know it's going the other way.
Yeah, as soon as it's just. But the thing is, all right, if that wasn't a penalty, yeah, then I don't want to see another penalty given this season
Mm,
where the player in question gets a slight touch of the ball before taking his man out.
yeah,
Simple
yeah,
as that. Because if that's the rule, and that's and by the letter of the law, that's not a penalty, then that should be the same in every single game. And there's no excuse for VAR to get it wrong now.
no, no. And obviously, I'm sure some Newcastle fans will complain about the Gabriel one. I think it's different
Yeah, I
because
was going to ask you what.
because I thought it was obviously they were both going for the ball, almost like a 50-50, I guess. Elanga obviously kicks it at the same time that Gabriel gets there, so it hits his leg, and then his arm is in. Would I say it's unnatural? That's probably how I think. If we played football and like we've gone for slide tackles, like you do tend to sort of do that with your arm. It's just natural. Do you know what I mean? But obviously nowadays is like his hand is very high. However, I do think he's gone to tackle for the ball and like it's this sort of ricocheted. So I think it's slightly different. I don't think it's a pen. Um, so I think they got that one right, and that one didn't. It didn't
Yeah,
take them long to do that
that's
one.
what saved it.
Yeah, yeah, and then
No,
obviously go and score a
I
couple
mean,
of goals.
if Langer had just whipped it into his arm,
Yeah, it's probably a
if
pen then.
Langer
Yeah,
whipped it into his arm and it hits his arm, it's a pen. But what saved him was, it came off his shin and flicked
yeah.
up to his arm,
Mm.
and yeah, it's just one of those. It wasn't a pen for me.
But I
Was I
think
worried when I saw it
yeah,
afterwards when I watched the game back?
yeah,
Because
for
I just
sure.
don't know what VAR are going to do. So
Yeah, yeah, and
I just didn't know what they were going to make.
yeah. I think all in all, I think Arsenal deserved to win. Like they were the better team on the day. They had the lion's share of possession. They had a lot more shots. They were the more attacking team. They had more intent. I like that Arteta sort of took the handbrake off. At one point he had Odegaard, Rice, Marino, Gyökeres, Martinelli, Eze, Trossard. They were all on the pitch. Um, so I did like that from him, and they had to win really. There's no point all of your rivals losing and you not capitalizing. So now they're 2 points off the top.
I remember I asked you before the game. I said, "What do you think? What do you think of the like? What how do Arsenal need to play?" And you said it's a must win because
Mm.
it is. If you're looking to win the league and you want to be at the top of that tree at the end of the season, when your rivals lose, you've got to be there to pick up the pieces and take advantage of that. And
Mm.
it's crazy because if it wasn't for a few last-minute goals, Arsenal could be 8 points behind Liverpool. If
Yeah.
Liverpool had managed to win that game and Arsenal had lost to Newcastle, it's 8
Mm.
points,
Yeah, mate.
and
Yeah,
that's a
that's a
lot.
big.
That's a lot of points. I know it's early, but the swing in momentum, I think, is really, really key. And I think Arsenal, after such a difficult start, have
Mm.
really given them a good foundation for themselves to build on and try and win the Premier League, because they've had a lot of their tough games now.
Mm.
Newcastle, Old Trafford, those are bogey grounds. They typically drop points there every season. And if you'd have
Yeah.
told me that after the start we had, we'd only be 2 points behind Liverpool, I would have taken that straight away.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
questions
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah.
No
No, I
questions
agree.
asked.
I agree, mate. And only thing we can sort of hope for is that obviously they build on this with the next few fixture they have. Obviously, there's no easy fixtures anymore in the Prem, but you know, they'll try and win the next few and sort of go from there. Really.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's going to be a very interesting next few weeks. There's some big games going on. Um, and we were talking last week, and I know you wanted to mention a little something about Chelsea.
Yeah. Yeah. Two things really. The first one being I don't think they're going to finish in the top four in the league. And the second one being that I don't think they're going to make it out of the Champions League group stage, mate. I think they're going to finish in that sort of 25th to 36th in the group phase. I just think over the past couple of weeks we've sort of seen the real Chelsea, and they're just not ready yet, mate. I think they've been absolutely terrible the last couple of weeks. Maresca almost seems like he doesn't even know what he's doing. I think the Club World Cup pre-season tournament gave them some false hope about who they
Yeah,
are.
I think
PSG were coming off the back of a long season. They played probably 70 to 80 games that season, and I just think winning that, they thought, oh, here we go, we're going to be near the top of the league, we're going to be fighting for this and that, and mate, I just think they're absolutely shocking. So,
and you know what? So far, as it stands, that's a very fair
mm,
prediction, because something needs to change at Chelsea, because they seem all over the shop at the moment, and they can't just keep on relying on Cole Palmer
no,
to them to play well. And you just can't rely on a single player like that, because you will come unstuck. And I think
mm,
the fact that they didn't go and sign or even compete to sign Donnarumma or address their goalkeeping issues, and they spent 90 million on Gittins and Garnacho,
mm,
just sit on the bench. That's not where
yeah,
they need to sign players.
yeah,
They
yeah,
needed a centre back and they needed a proper goalkeeper,
yeah.
and I think that's going to cost them big time.
Mm.
But fair play, we'll have to clip this
Clip
and
me
come
up,
back
man.
to it.
Clip me
Yeah,
up,
I'll
I
clip you
promise.
up. But I think that rounds up another episode of Var from the Truth, episode 6.
Absolutely, it does indeed. Another good
The,
episode.
there's just been so much going on in the Prem recently. It's just taken up basically all of our time, because there's so much to talk about, really, and break it down.
Yeah.
But just wanted to say thank you for watching. Thanks for all your support. Please follow us on Instagram. We're Var from the Truth Pod,
Hmm.
and TikTok as well. Var from the Truth Pod.
Yeah.
You can find us on there. We post clips and love to interact with you guys. We've had a few comments recently about a certain clip about Liverpool squad depth, which is
Yeah.
really enjoy listening to what other fans have got to say, really. And we
Yeah.
will get to the point someday where we'll have people calling in and giving us their opinions.
Yeah.
There's
Absolutely.
it's an open space and it's no filter,
Yeah,
and that's what we want really.
for sure. Absolutely. Another good episode.
Yeah. See you next week. Come on.